So a tire is probably the most important accessory that you can get for your one wheel. Big choice. Which one do you get? Who knows? Don't worry. I'm gonna help you through that process. Stay tuned on this video. We're gonna figure out which is the right tire for you. Let's go.
I've been wanting this forever. I've been in the field wherever they throw at me, brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey.
All right, so where do we start? Probably the beginning is a good place to start. So the original one wheel, it's lovingly referred to as the V1, came with a Vega tire on it. And the Vega tire came on the V1, it came on the Plus, it came on the Plus XR. It was used for a long time. A lot of folks, myself included, don't consider it to be a very good one wheel tire, but it's where we started at the beginning. The problem with the V1 is it took a long time to break in. It took about 600 miles before it became a relatively decent one wheel tire, but it was a harder compound. It did last for a while, so people like that. And again, it was the early days. We didn't really know any better. So there were really three main go-kart companies that we were using their tires to swap them onto one wheels back then. And it was Hoosier, Burris, and Maxxis. There were also Unili, we found out there, a bunch of off brands too that we were using, but those were kind of the three main ones. So once we sort of ran out of all the go-kart tires to try, a few companies went out and started contacting these go-kart tire manufacturers and saying, hey, could we maybe make a couple of tweaks to these tires to make them a little bit more one-wheel friendly? Whitefin started working with Hoosier, and we started working with Burris, and we started making tires using existing karting molds that were a little bit more tweaked and tuned to make the one-wheel experience better. Yeah, that was it. We started tweaking a couple of things, but great for a while. But the issue with that is that you can only tweak so much in existing molds before you have to just make an entire new mold for the tire. We ended up going out and we started manufacturing our own tires from the ground up. Cut entire new molds, made the first ever one wheel specific tire, and that was the Enduro. And the Enduro was sick. And it's actually to this day the most popular selling one wheel tire, which is pretty darn cool, but I think it's for a reason. I mean, the Enduro tread is pretty darn iconic at this point. Boom, there it is. It's a hybrid tire. It was the first hybrid tire made for one wheel. It was the first one wheel specific tire made. Yeah, the Enduro is pretty darn iconic at this point. I mean, we even make it for all the models. There's a whole bunch of different ones. We're gonna get into that later. This was the first ever tire specifically made for one wheels, which I thought was pretty darn cool. This wasn't just a modified go-kart tire. This thing was built specifically for one wheels to be sick. This thing's pretty sweet. We'll talk more about it later, but for now, let's move on. Okay, so now that we've talked history, let's talk parts of a tire and how it affects the ride. Oh, Willow's gonna help out. Okay, so this is a tire. This is the Trail Pro 2 right here. And there's a few different parts of the tire that really affect the ride when it comes to one wheeling. So the first that we'll talk about is the contact patch or the crown of the tire. And that's this center piece right here. So the center of the tire contacts the ground the entire time, and the width of that spot will depend on how stable or nimble your tire is from just like a resting point. So if you're just riding in a straight line and you have a really rounded crown right here, the tire is going to be able to make really tight, nimble turns just on a dime. But the cost of that is going to be some stability. So if you ride really fast, you might want a larger contact patch so that you're more stable in a straight line. If you ride kind of slower and really nimbly, like to flip around, maybe a smaller contact patch is for you. The next thing to talk about is gonna be the shoulder of the tire. So that's this point right here where it curves down from the crown of the tire. So the shoulder of the tire, sort of the more rounded it is, the more nimble it's gonna be and the deeper that you can lean into the edge when you do heavy turns. So if you've got a wider contact patch with a really, really steep shoulder, that's like the original Vega. So it'll ride in a straight line really good. You'll be able to do nice mellow turns real easy, but once you start to really dig into that turn and turn really heavy, it's possible that you end up rolling over that sharp edge right there and it's gonna wobble on you. So you want a really nice progressive shoulder, but it's not too steep because then you can't make mellow turns and it's gonna roll a lot. The shoulder's sort of a little bit of a balancing act right there. The next part's gonna be the sidewall. So the sidewall is the area between the edge of the rim and the edge of the shoulder right here. Me personally, I like a really big sidewall. I think the bigger the better because one wheels do not have suspension on them as of right now. This is sort of your suspension right here. The more that this compresses, the easier it is on your feet and knees if you're going through chunky terrain. Also, also, if you've got a softer sidewall and you really dig into turns, it can bend and deform and flex, and you can really sit in that edge and have more of a tilt on your board, which I really like. Now, the cost of that is going to be your board feeling a little bit more muted. For example, if you're riding through some chunk, it's gonna feel a little bit floatier, as opposed to if you have a smaller sidewall right here, it's gonna feel a lot more responsive and lively under your feet. Now, personally, I would prefer a muted, mellow ride that's easier on my body, but hey, that's up to you guys. The next tire aspect I wanna talk about would be the tread itself. So there's anywhere between like a slick tire, which is no tread at all, versus like a really deep tread like we would have on our Pioneer tire right here, which is the deepest tread you can possibly get. So the tread is a pretty darn important aspect. I would say it depends on your riding style, really, and what terrain you ride a lot, on which tread to choose. So if you're looking for maximum range, I would say go with something like a slick or a really shallow tread. If you're looking for some grip off-road, if you're looking for something that's gonna handle the rain or the mud really good, I would say go for a deeper tread. Deeper tread's gonna be a little bit more aggressive underfoot. It's not gonna feel as smooth, and you will have reduced range, but that comes with increased grip. It's up to you. A lot of people decide to go with like a hybrid tread like the Enduro, where it's sort of a mix of a slick and a tread. It's really shallow treads. It's gonna run great. It's gonna give you more grip than a slick. It's gonna give you less grip than a heavy tread like a Thundercat or an Enduro. And then the last thing to talk about with a tire really would be the compound of the tire, and that affects the durometer. So the durometer is basically the hardness of the tire. Tires come in all sorts of different durometers. We typically do like a soft and a mid durometer. So the higher the durometer, the harder the tire. And the harder the tire, the longer the life you're gonna get out of the tire. But that comes at a cost of ride comfort, because if you have a hard durometer, it's gonna be a lot more chattery under your feet. And if you've got a softer durometer, it's gonna feel better under your feet. What's more important to you, longevity or, ride feel? And me personally, I'm here for a good time, not for a long time. So I'll take those soft tires all day. So typically I find like the more commuter style riders that like to go really, really long distances, they don't ride a ton of off-road. They're just like, dude, I wanna do 50 miles in a day. Those guys might benefit from a harder compound tire, so I might suggest a mid as opposed to a soft for them. But for a lot of people that like riding a lot of trails, or you're just jamming out to go get lunch, or you're dropping curbs or doing tricks or something, I usually like a softer tire for that, for sure. Willow, you're killing me. You gotta get out of here. Oh. Okay, so now that you guys know all the different parts of the tires, we should probably cover tire size itself. So you'll notice on the side of the tire, there's gonna be 3 numbers right here. And the way that it typically works out with kart and one-wheel tires is the first number is essentially the diameter of the tire, so how large the tire itself is. The second number is gonna be the width of the tire, so how wide the tire is right there. And then the third number is going to be the hub size. So I wouldn't put a ton of stock into the first 2 numbers, because between different companies, an 11.5 can mean 2 completely different diameters and different circumferences on the tire. So I would say just take that as kind of like a general idea. Just know that if you have 2 5.5s right next to each other, it's very possible that they could actually be different widths, but take that as more of a recommendation. The important number though will be the last number, the hub size number. So if you've got a 5-inch hub, you wanna make sure that last number is 5. If you've got a 6-inch hub, you wanna make sure it's a 6. If you've got a stock GT 6.5-inch hub, you wanna make sure it's a 6.5. That being said, you also wanna make sure that just the size of your tire will actually fit on your board. We've made it really easy on our website, and you can actually sort by which board you have, and it'll tell you which one fits. If you guys have any questions on that, just shoot me an email. I will let you know. And then just one little side note on that, the smaller your tire that you have, just on the diameter of your tire, you're gonna have increased torque, but you're gonna have reduced top speed, because a tire spinning at the exact same rate. If it's bigger, it's gonna go faster. If it's smaller, it's gonna go slower, but smaller will give you more torque. So if you want something to go really, really fast, get the biggest possible tire that will fit on your board. If you want something that'll go a little bit torquier, have a little bit more snap, but not have the same top speed, go with a little bit smaller of a tire. So when choosing a tire, I think there's really 4 main factors you want to consider. And that's going to be what terrain you're riding, what's your weight, the stability versus carve, and the longevity of the tire. All right, so now that we're like forever into this video, it's finally time to start covering the tires and the pros and cons of each tire. So here we go, let's dive right in. we're gonna start with our most aggressive off-road deep tread option, and that's our Pioneer right here. So the Pioneer is one of the widest tires available. We made it super wide. We also made the deepest possible tread. This is a off-road machine. If you just ride 90% off-road, you're a trail junkie, this might be the tire for you. We designed this tire to be very stable. It's really, really wide. It's got a fat contact patch in there. So if you like going fast and you like ripping trails and you like riding in the mud and the rain and all sorts of that nasty stuff, the Pioneer is gonna be the one for you. The Pioneer comes in a bunch of different options. We currently have it for 6.5-inch GT hub, MTE hub, and then shortly we'll have it coming in a BTG size. It may actually be out by the time this video comes out, but that's the Big Tire Gang. So it's an even larger version that works if you have extended rails. So that one's pretty darn cool. It'll also work on the XL. That's the Pioneer. If you're a trail junkie and you want a big, stable, fast tire that just rips through mud, I would say the Pioneer is the way to go. So the treads on this thing are gnarly. They're 6 millimeters wide for a ton of spacing for that mud to go through between the treads, and 5.5 millimeters deep. So these are the deepest, gnarliest treads available on a one-wheel tire. And then we also have this 2.5 millimeter deep siping right here. Siping are these little like wavy lines in between the treads. These help to shed water really well too and grip on ice. If that sounds like you, Pioneer is a good way to go. So next up we have the Thundercat. This is probably my favorite tread design, just aesthetically. I think it looks super sick. What we wanted to do with the Thundercat is we wanted a tire kind of in between the Pioneer and the Enduro when it came to the gnarliness of the tread and the carvability and the width and things like that. What we did is we made it a little bit narrower. So we took the width from 6.9 with the Pioneer and we dropped it down to 6.75 with the Thundercat. So it's gonna carve a little bit better than the Pioneer, but still have more stability than an Enduro or a more narrow tire. And then we also made the treads a little bit less deep. So it's gonna be a little bit softer underfoot than the Pioneer is gonna be. Not quite the same level of traction as the Pioneer, but still a ton of traction on this thing. So if you ride like 75% off-road, you're mainly an off-road trail rider, but you still want something that can go on the street from time to time and is gonna be a little bit quieter underfoot, the Thundercat is a pretty good option there. So we have the Thundercat in a few different sizes. We currently have it for GT 6.5-inch hub. We have it for XR 6-inch hub. We even have it for XR Growler, which is pretty darn cool. That's like in between the size of a Pint and an XR. And we also have it for Pint. So it's one of our most versatile tires. If you like ripping off-road, but don't want to commit to like 100% off-road, Thundercat, pretty darn cool tire to go with. Oh, I almost forgot, we even have it in BTG size. Thank you, Nico, for designing that one. So if you have a BTG, you've got a few different options now, including the Thundercat. All right, next up, we are doing middle of the road, the perfect hybrid balanced tire, the original, the one, Enduro. So Enduro's cool. It's, like I said, it's a hybrid tire. It works great for trail, it works great for street, it works great for basically anything you can throw at it. It's got a nice shallow tread on it. It's nice and nimble, but still has plenty of stability. It's sort of like the perfect in-between, middle of the road, does everything, jack of all trades type tire. And it does come in soft and mid, so if you want something with a little bit more longevity, go with the mid, a little bit better feel, go with the soft. We make this tire for basically every single setup you could possibly want, from Pint to XR to GT. We got this tire for everything. So this is our most popular tire. I rode this tire for years. It's an awesome tire. If you guys want something that's just gonna handle anything that's thrown at it, Enduro's gonna cover it for you. So Enduro's got like a really nice directional tread. We've got these cool siping patches on the side. This thing is super quiet underfoot. I mean, it rides nearly like a slick when you're on the street. You don't feel much buzzing at all from it. It's basically, if you want a slick with like a little bit of extra grip, Enduro's a good spot for that. All right, now let's talk Trail Pro 2. So the Trail Pro 2 is a trail specific tire that we built. Trail Pro 1 was a collab that we did with Burris back in the day to develop it. Well, we came out with the 2, made a couple of little tweaks. This tire is really for people that are looking for like maximum stability off-road. So we designed this tire to have the biggest contact patch. And we've got some pretty beefy sidewalls on it to handle that chunk. And it's basically the tire if you want to go fast, off-road, stable, not super nimble, you're not hitting crazy tech sections, but you're just like blasting down fire roads. Trail Pro 2 is pretty great for that. We changed the tread from the 1 to the 2 to be directional as opposed to asymmetrical. So you can see our tread is going this way to shed water off to the side, yet we kept that classic centerline slick patch right there too. If you're a trail ripper and you're looking for ultimate stability, Trail Pro 2 is the way you probably want to go. Comes in both a 6-inch hub size and a 5-inch hub size. If you've got an MTE, you can rock it. So there we are, Trail Pro 2. Oh, another cool aspect with the Trail Pro 2 is we developed sort of like a tunable profile depending on your PSI. So you can see right here, it's like got a big dip concave in the middle. When you fill it up, that fills out. If you ride lower PSI, it'll be really, really flat right here and you'll have a huge flat contact patch. And then the more you pump it up, the more rounded that center crown goes and the smaller your contact patch becomes. So it's sort of like a tunable PSI profile, which is really cool with this. A lot of other tires, when you fill them up, they sort of just everything fills up at the same time. Trail Pro 2 is gonna really tune depending on how much air you put at it. So it's gonna be a lot more hypersensitive to the PSI. And last but not least, we've got our slick tire offering. This is the Street Pro 2, affectionately known as the SP2. This tire comes in so many different options. We've got it available for basically anything. Slick is where it started. Slick is what a lot of people still ride. If you just ride the streets a ton, you don't do a crazy amount of trail, or you ride trail but you like to kind of break loose, drift a little bit, do some sick burnouts, slick tires are really good options for that. Where slick tires aren't a good option is if you ride in the rain. If you hit a wet pile of leaves or something, you're gonna want some tread, you're gonna want some grip. But freestyle riding, slicks I think are probably still king. Riding around town, it's gonna feel the smoothest, it's gonna feel the butteriest. As far as range goes, you're gonna get the maximum amount of range with the slick. And then also on the Street Pro, we've designed it to be a very nimble tire. If you're looking for something nimble, something smooth, Street Pro 2 is a good option. Another cool feature with slick tires is they're typically a lot lighter than their treaded counterparts just because there's less rubber built up in the tread right here. So that's pretty cool. If you want a tire that's really fast, it's really light, it's really torquey, it's really carvy, it's nimble, it rips around on the streets, Street Pro 2 is a really good option for that. So what do you guys think? I hope this was helpful. We've got links to all the tires down below in the description, so check it out there and let us know what your favorite tire is down in the comments. Float on, my friends. Let's go, Willow. Let's go, let's go, let's go.